to the study guide for test 19, starting with number 11. So this is what this problem will look like. It's a radical with fractional exponents underneath it. So you need to change the radical into a fractional exponent. Underneath, we're going to simplify. So x to the 0 is just 1. 1 times anything is just the anything. So you don't need to put the 1 there because they're multiplied together. All right, we're going to add any exponents that should have the same bases. On the test, there's a lot more underneath this radical. So we're going to get a squared. Now the y's, we have y to the first, y to the second, so it's going to be y to the third. We got the a squared, the y's, and x to the 1/2. On the test, there might be like several x's and several y's and several a's. You need to add the exponents. Sometimes they're even fractions. So once you do that, simplify underneath, then it's a power to a power, so you're going to multiply the exponents. So 2 times 1/2 is just 1. So a, it's going to be y to the 3/2, and then it's going to be x to the 1/4. That's it. Just be careful. If you have something underneath the radical, like if you have something like x to the 1/2 and x to the third, you're going to need to add these exponents. So it's going to be x to the 7/2. I just take 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. All right, so make sure you do that. All right, that was fast. The next one, number 12, also from lesson 73. It's number 24. Okay, this one's going to get you. All right, so -2 squared all over -16 to the -3/4. Pay attention here. This is tricky. Okay, first of all, you can't raise a number to a negative power, so I'm going to bring that straight up. And it's going to be 16 to the +3/4. The -1's still down here. You can just cross these out because a negative over a negative is a positive. Now, can we write 16 with a base of 2? Well, 2 to the 4th power, let's see, yeah, would be 16, right? So a couple different ways you can do this, but let's just do it this way. I'm going to make the bases the same. So 2 squared times 16 is 2 to the 4th power, and it's still to the 3/4. See that? I just did that inside of parentheses. I'm just looking at the test. You have different numbers that you can still write to the same base. Test one's a little tricky because this number is not the same as this number is going to be. So we're going to get 2 squared times, look at these are going to cross out, times 2 cubed. And we're going to get 2 to the 5th. And that is it. Hint on another way you could have done this, you could have done 2 squared, and then you could have done the 4th root of 16, because the number on the bottom cubed. And so the 4th root of 16 is 2, so it's going to be 2 squared times, this would be 2 cubed, and we're still going to get 2 to the 5th. So study that one because that one's going to be tough on the test. It's different numbers, it's not 2s, it might be 3s. Do your best on that. Study, it says on the paper here for number, what number are we on? Number 12, to study lesson 35, so you might want to do that. Okay, number 13 is from lesson 64, practice A and B. So it's practice A and B. So lesson 64. All right, let me see here which one looks most like it. Let's just do B. They're pretty much, you can work on both of them, but neither of them are exactly like the ones in the test. That's for sure. So S over Z equal plus 3 over 5 plus 2S over Z. Okay, so you work at this bottom part first and you simplify it. So it's S over Z, difficult letters to write, plus 3 over, and we're going to find the common denominator over here at z. So it's going to be 5z plus 2s. Then we're going to flip this whole guy. There's another way to do that. You could have taken everything times z here. I kind of like that way better, but I didn't do it that way. S over z plus, we're going to flip this up, right? So that's going to come up at the top. So it's going to be 3z over 5z plus 2s. The other way that I was saying that you could do this is you could take this times z, and these would cross out, and then this times z. And you can see we got the same thing here. Now you need to find a common denominator because we're still going. So the common denominator is z times 5z plus 2s. So this one needs the whole dealio here, which would be 5z plus 2s. So you're going to get, you don't have to distribute it, but you can. 5, tough numbers. Is that a 5 or an s? I think I changed it. I think it's supposed to be an s. Oh goodness gracious. 5s and 2s and s's and z's are crazy. Okay, so let's go back to it being an s. So it's s squared z plus, oh, I can't read my writing anymore, 2s squared, I'm guessing that's what it is, plus, so we distributed it, this needs a z, plus 3z squared. So if it's messed up because I couldn't read the numbers, you get the point. So, couldn't read the letters with my writing. So anyway, that's that kind of problem. Shouldn't be too bad on the test. I think you can handle that one. It's good. Okay, next one. So we are on, so this next one is same lesson, C and D this time. Lesson 64, this is number 14. Right? 14, C and D. Okay. So these are imaginary number problems. So it's a combination of C and D. So C is I to the 4th minus 5i cubed. These are not hard, but you know what? This is the kind of problem that people make the most mistakes on. -5, even though you know how to do it. So the one on the test is pretty complicated. It's a combo. So I to the 4th is the same as I squared times I squared, which is -1 times -1, which ends up being 1. This is I to the 3rd power, right? So that's the same as I squared times I. I squared is -1, so it's going to be plus 5, and then we still have the I, minus 3. You need to pop the i's out before you multiply these. All right, so we're going to get the square root of 15, and then it's going to be I squared, right? And that's going to make this a positive. I squared would be negative, so it's going to make this positive. That looks, we're not done yet. Actually, we are done. So you're going to just put them in order. So you get 1 plus 3 root 15 plus 5i. This is the real part. And then we have our imaginary part. So hopefully I did that right. I think we only have those i's. Okay. There's nothing you can do to simplify it. The second one is B. That one is, so the problem on the test is a combination of A and B. So there's one of these with one of those. So careful, do it several times to make sure you did it right. I would have done it a couple times too if I had time. So -15i plus 20i, you FOIL it, minus 25i squared. Okay, I squared is -1, so I'm just going to make that a plus, right? And then I'm going to add my numbers together. So 25 plus 12 is 37 plus, I'm going to add my i's together, so we get 5i. So put the real part first, then the imaginary complex numbers in the form a plus bi. Alrighty, we still have a lot to conquer here. Number 15. 15 is lesson 72, number 29. We've got some tough ones coming up. So, yikes, I need endurance here. 7229. Okay, ooh, you guys love these. Find the equation that passes through -7, 0, and is perpendicular to the line 4y minus 3x, x. equals 1. Okay, ooh, this one on the test, just saying, it says find the equation of a line that passes through a point is perpendicular to a line that passes through two other points. So they're not going to give you this on the test. They are giving you 2 points like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to find, I'm going to just make up a problem here, so excuse me for doing this. I just want to get you something that's closer to one that's on the test. Okay, so say we have the point -7, 0, and it's perpendicular to the line that goes through the point. I'm just going to do my point 1, 2, 3, 4 for my creativity's sake. Okay, you need to find the slope of these 2 points. So it's the y, subtract the y coordinates over the distance of the difference of the x coordinates. I made it nice and easy on myself, didn't I? So it's going to be 2 over 2, so the slope is 1. Okay, we want to find the one that's perpendicular. So it's going to be the negative reciprocal. So it's going to be -1. If the answer would have been like 1/3, if the slope would have been 1/3, the perpendicular slope is going to be -3. So there's the slope. We need to find the b. So we go y equals mx plus b. This is your x, this is your y. So we're going to put 0 equals our perpendicular. So this is going to be our perpendicular slope because we want it to be perpendicular. So it's going to be -1 times our x, which is -7, plus b. This is going to be +7, so b is going to equal a -7. So we get all that. So we have our m and b that's in the boxes, and we write our equation. Y equals m, which is our perpendicular one. We put our x back in, -7, and that's how you do that. So you need to find the slope. Then you find the negative reciprocal of the slope. You put that in y equals mx plus b along with the point that they gave you, and then you put them back into y equals mx plus b. So if you need help with that, you need to go and study lesson 31. All right, 16. 16 is lesson 72, practice B, and I'm sorry on that. Oh, it's a blob problem, guys. Blob it out. Okay, so there's a blob problem. You're going to need a ruler in order to do this one. Okay, real quick, I'm going to do this. How many blob problems do we do? These are on the SAT, though, guys. You have to get these. Okay, so we have our axes. This is what it's going to look like. This is going to be the one that we're doing. I have practice problem B. Okay, so this is hydrogen, so it's not Y anymore, it's H, and this is carbon, so we'll call that C. And then we just have some random blobby things going up through here all over the place, you know, like this. Okay, now I'm going to draw a line through here, but when I draw my line, I'm going to be smart. I have the line drawn in my book, and I have it crossing a grid line at 103, 103, and then it looks like 105. So that's my first one, 105. So I have my line through here. It's going to cross through this. This is where a grid line is. So I have a point 103, 105. Then I need another point, and through the one that I connected, let's see. It looks like I have one at 105, 105, and then at 105, 120. Okay, so up here, 120. So let's do that, 105, 120. Okay, so I have it connected in my book. I was smart, I drew my grid line. I did the grid lines. Whoops, bad line. I might not be able to do any better, so you have to get the right angle when you do this tool. Okay, so I took it through like that, all right? You'll do better because the blobs will be real. All right, so this point here is what did I say it was? 105, no. Yeah, the 105 down here and 120. Okay, so you get your points and you just kind of hit them when you draw your blob. See, that was pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to do 120 minus 105. We're doing the slope, so the change in y coordinates over the change in x, minus 103. So we're going to get 15 over 2. Check out that slope. So it's 7.5. Hopefully that's right. I'm doing these kind of quickly. 120 minus 105. Okay, So then we're just going to do y equals mx plus b. This is our good friend we pull out all the time. We pick one of the points. Whoa. Pick one of the points. So I'm going to do 105. I'm going to put my slope in of 7.5. X is 103 plus b. So I'm going to take on my calculator 105 minus 7.5 times 103. And I get b, ooh, I don't know if this is right, but I got b equals negative 667.5. It doesn't look very right, but that's what I came up with doing this quickly. This is the whole concept. Pick the 2 points, get the slope, put the slope and one of the points back in. I'm not going to take the time to look this up. So we get y equals m, which is 7.5. I'm just wondering, okay, 7.5 x minus 667.5. And then to be most accurate, you're going to put the letters back in. We had h for the y, and we have c for the x minus 667.5. There you go. Okay, that's your blobby ones. Okay, we're on 17, yay. All right, 17 is lesson, I don't know what one it is. Okay, so lesson 54. I'm going to pick the one that's most like the one on the test, practice A. So, okay. Oh, I guess you have to do both of these. Lesson 54, practice A. We'll start with that one. Okay, so you have to change 28, I guess I'm doing both of these, at 310 degrees into rectangular. Okay, your rectangular is your rights and ups, right? Okay, so to do this one, I consider this the easy one. So you're going to say x equals the cosine, 28 cosine of 310 degrees, and y equals 28 sine of 310 degrees. Okay, these are easy. So you just put them in your calculator, 28 cosine of 310, and you're going to get 17.99. Actually, it's going to round up to, because it's 9/8, it's going to round up to approximately 18. So it's going to be 18 right, and then you're going to take 28 times the sine of 310, and we're going to get negative 21.45 up. So your answers are going to be 18 right minus 21.45 up. It's in the lower quadrant, so it is going to be a negative y coordinate. All right, so it's going to be in the fourth quadrant, and that works. Positive right down is your up. Okay, it sounded crazy when I said that. Okay, let's do the other kind because there's two kinds on the test. It says practice lesson 59, practice C. Lesson 59, practice C. Almost done. We can do this. We have extra problems because some of these problems have two parts. Okay, so we are going to convert negative 3 right minus 5 up into polar form. So let's plot this. This is in rectangular coordinates. So it's the same thing as negative 3, negative 5. It's rectangular coordinates. I mean, this is the same as rectangular coordinates. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's a point there. We're putting in polar coordinates, so we need a vector length, and we need this angle right here. Okay, so this is going to be 3, this is going to be 5, and we need to do the Pythagorean theorem to figure out the length of the vector. So 3 squared, you have to do all this in one problem. C squared, so it's 9 plus 25 equals C squared. C is going to equal the square root of 34. So that's this one. Now we need to find this angle, and we're going to use tangent. So to get angles, we use the inverse operation. So the inverse of tangent, remember, is opposite over adjacent, so it's going to be 5 over 3. In your calculator, you do second tangent, and then do 5 divided by 3, and we get 59 degrees. You would think you're done, but you're not. because this angle right here is 59 degrees. We want this whole thing. So you need to add the 180 to it. Plus 180. Okay, 180, and we're going to get 239. So this is 239. This is the whole way around. So we're going to say 59 degrees. Nope, we don't say it like that, do we? That's not, we're not even using 59. We're going to say the square root of 34, that's the vector length, at 239 degrees. So 2 parts to that problem. You have to take rectangular, put it into polar. You have to take polar, put it into rectangular. All right, almost done. Number 18. Lesson 62. And I'm going to pick the one that's most like that one. 62, did it say practice problem? 9? Okay, solve by completing the square. Okay, practice problem 9, and it says also number 9. Okay, solve by completing the square. So the one on the test is not going to be in the right order, but that's okay. Let's just do lesson 62. I only have to do one of these. Let's do the practice problem. So it looks like negative x plus 5x squared plus 3 equals 0. Okay, so just looking one on the test. Okay, so you have to put in order and you have to set it equal to 0. So you get 5x squared plus minus, it's a minus x. Put it in descending order of variables like this. If it's not set equal to 0, set it equal to 0. Okay, divide everything by 5 because you can't have a coefficient in front of the x squared term. So you get x squared minus, I'm going to do negative 1/5 x, like that, plus 3/5. Just, it's going to make it easier to deal with, equals 0. So we have to get the replacement guy. So we get x squared minus 1/5 x plus somebody equals, kick him over because he's not a perfect square. We're going to divide this by 2, which is the same as multiplying by 1/2. And then we're going to square it, so we're going to get, so that's going to be 1 over 100, right? 10 squared is 100, 1 over 100. So now we factor it into a binomial squared. I don't know who thought this up, huh? So 100 is your common denominator. This needs a 20, this needs a 20. So it's negative 60 plus 1 is going to be negative 59. Check that out. That's crazy. Square root both sides. So square root u plus or minus square root u, because there's always 2 answers to a quadratic equation. So we're going to get x equals 1/10. Just bring him over, plus or minus the square root of 59, imaginary, pop out your eye, and the square root of 100 is 10. So there you go. Those are kind of fun if you get the whole concept behind completing the square. All right, number 19. Okay, number 19. So 19 is from lesson 48, practice A. 48. Okay, it's a radical problem. It's a fairly easy radical one. So we have the square root of x minus 5. They don't make everything hard on these tests. Equals 7. Isolate the radical. Square root of x minus 5. I mean, compared to that completing the square, this is a piece of cake, right? Square both sides. Shoot, this is easy. Okay, it's nice of them to give us something easy at the end of the test. So we get x minus 5 equals 100. X equals 105. Don't be fooled by that because you have to check it. Anytime there's a radical, you have to check it and see if it works. So I'm going to put it in. So 105 minus 5 is 100, so it's the square root of 100. Minus 3 equals 7. 10 minus 3 equals 7. 7 equals 7. Yay. Make sure you check these radical ones, especially on the SAT, because they do try to trick you on the SAT. Okay, number 20. Finally, lesson 53, back in time, number 27. Ooh, it's a triangle problem. Lesson 53. I hope this is like the one on the test. 27. Looks pretty similar. Okay. Never know if I get it exactly like the one on the test, but I try. I mean, I didn't do study sheets in the beginning of when I started teaching, so you guys are kind of lucky. You get study sheets, gives you something to study for. So we have our blah, blah, blah. We have A, we have B. Oh, these are kind of hard. 5, 5, 12. Okay, these are similar triangles. I like to separate them because I don't have like ability to think outside of drawing. Can't like visualize things in my head. It's a real handicap to be a math teacher and not be able to do that, but you can always compensate. Okay, so this one, the big one is A plus B right here. The big one is a 12. This one is the A. This is the 5. Ooh, do we have anything else? We have a C. And we have a C, and this would be 10. Ooh, that's handy. Okay. Oh, this one might be easier than the one on the test. Because, is this a 5 and 5? Because you can see the scale factor is 2 here, right? This one is twice as big, so that kind of helps. But you're going to do, let's pretend like we don't know that. So we get 5 over 10 equals C over left over right, C over 12. And we can figure out C, which we know is going to be 6. But if we cross multiply, we're going to get 12. So it's going to be 60 equals 10C, and C equals 6. Okay, moving right along. Okay, now we can get A. Ew, something happened, expanded. Okay, so now we have that. We can get A. Yeah, we end with a doozy, don't we now? So this is 6. So we can get A by doing the Pythagorean theorem, because it's a right triangle. See the right triangle? So 5 squared plus 6 squared equals A squared. So 25 plus 36 equals A squared. That's 40. That's going to be 61. So A is going to equal the square root of 61. That's cute. Okay, so we're not done yet. So we know this is going to equal the square root of 61. This is the square root of 61. Nice. Okay, so now we know that this is the square root of 61. Oh no, delay here. 61 plus B. So we're going to do the ratio one more time. And it's going to be hard because I can't get everything on one screen. So we're going to get the 5 over 10 equals, we have the A is a square root of 61. And this is going to be the square root of 61 plus, I have no memory, plus B. Nice. Okay. All right, we got that. So we're doing left over right, cross multiply. 5 square root of 61 plus B equals 10 square root of 61. Divide both sides by, what are we solving here for? We're solving for B. So that should not be under the radical. Hold on. This radical got carried away here. Square root of 61, this shouldn't have been under the radical, by the way, plus B equals 10 square root of 61. And so we're going to get B equals 5 square root of 61. Because we know it shouldn't really be 5. I don't know what I did wrong here. It's twice as big. Square root of 61, hold on. 5, oh, it should be 5B. So when I cross multiply, this should have been 5B. All right, let's try this again. 5B equals, we're dividing by 2 square root of 61. I don't know what I did here. So 2 square root of 61, it should just be that over 5. All right. Don't know what I did wrong on that. 5 square root of 61, 5B, 10, divide by 5. We're going to get, oh, never mind. We get the 2. And so we're going to get 2 square root of 61, which I knew the answer was that because it's twice as big. Remember, the scale factor was 2. Okay, so that ends that. I hope that was really helpful for you. I hope everyone watched it, and then you'll do really well on the test. So that is it for this week.